Hello, welcome to this edition of Yin Yoga. So today we will get into the hips like we always do, but we're also going to get into the shoulders a little bit. So I strongly recommend a strap. We're going to use this to assist us in the beginning to kind of open up a little bit. And then we may come back to this towards the end as well and doing some other things. So have one of these close by. Other props, folded blankets, a bolster cushion, maybe a couple blocks, and we'll get right into it. So as always, remember, I will cue minutes to stay in the pose. If that's not for you, come out when you need to. It's all good. So let's start with a nice tall spine, thinking about the ears, the shoulders, and the hips in a nice alignment. Zip up that front body to support that back body. We'll take a slight tuck in the chin. And we'll come into our practice here. So as you come into the practice and kind of settle in, bring in that body scan. So is there anywhere in that body you could soften a little bit more? So I felt my hips kind of tense up and my body kind of hinge forward a little bit. So I'm going to relax to those hips and bring myself back into that alignment. Good. And then maybe bring that attention to the breath. As you inhale through the nose, could you find that lateral expansion of the rib cage? And let's pause right there at the top of that breath. And slowly, slowly, slowly release. We'll go again. Big inhale, nice and slow and expanding. Pause. And slowly release. Last time, big inhale and expand. Pause. And slowly, slowly release. Release from the crown to the tail. Good. Fingertips to the side, palms turning up. Inhale, reach, 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 and lengthen, nice and tall, touching palms together. Exhale, hands in the heart center. So connecting with an intention for your practice. What would you like to give or receive? Maybe you'd like to dedicate this practice to someone or something. And once you have that set, we'll take the palms back up overhead, turning the palms away, growing taller from crown to tail. Good. So from here, I'm just going to bring in the strap. I'm just going to let it come right across my lap here. Good. Let's take our arms out to the side and let's just find some nice rotation here from the shoulders. We're staying in that nice tall spine. Good. And then from here, not typically yin, it's just good to warm up the shoulders a little bit before we stretch them, going a little bit deeper. So I'm going to just make some little circles here. Now my rib cage is in, so I'm not, kind of doing this body flop here. Good. You can activate this a little bit stronger if you, while you're doing your circles, really reaching from shoulders to fingertips. And then let's take that in the reverse direction. Good. And then from here, when you're ready, we'll reach long. We'll bend those elbows in goalpost position. We're going to come forward, kind of touching if you can. And then we're going to open to the side. Think about a squeezing of the shoulder blades, a separation of the shoulder blades. Good. Just moving forward and back here. Good. Now, if I remember, we will end with this 2 and get a little bit of a deeper rotator cuff stretch in there as well. Good. So from here, when you're ready, let's take a big inhale, reach and lengthen. Exhale, gentle side bend. Reach, reach, reach. Sits bones are grounded. Inhale, exhale, move through center. Inhale, exhale, take that to the other side. Oh, there's my tighter side for sure this morning. Breathe and expand. And then we'll come back up and release. We're going to grab that strap. Good. And we're going to take the strap, we're going to go to the left. And so because I've got my little buckle here, I'm going to make sure that that's the side that, or part of my strap that's going to be grounded. I'm trying to remember that cue. So from here, we'll come out wide. Good. We'll take it up, reach, reach, reach. We're going to take it towards the left. Maybe that left hand comes down and can anchor a little bit here. Good. So I'm really tugging here, and then I'm going to open towards the back a little bit. My belly button is in. And then maybe I just kind of move through that motion coming forward, and you'll have some looseness in that strap as you come forward. And just open and close. So you're also in rotation here with the spine, so in addition to lateral flexion. So you want to keep that belly button in nice and tight. Good. Now that we're a little bit looser, let's take that a little bit more open. Now I'm giving a little bit of a tug on the strap, and I also feel that in my left hand as I'm anchored, as that strap becomes a little bit more taut. And then I'll come to the side and I'll come back up. I'm going to take this down. I'm just going to reconnect my alignment on my strap and switching sides. Let's do that too, so that the buckle doesn't hit us in the face when we're moving, opening and closing. Good. So we'll take this up. Big inhale, exhale, taking it over towards the right. I'm going to let that right hand just slide down here. I'm nice and tight, maybe looking up. Good. Maybe opening. Good. And then from here, just moving through and reaching forward and opening back up and reaching forward, and we'll open back up and we'll reach forward this last time. We'll open up. We're going to pause there so you can come a little bit deeper. You can tug a little bit more. Good. And then coming back through center and coming up. Good. So I'm going to re-choke up here again. I'm nice and wide. I'm nice and taut. I'm going to take it up. I'm going to rotate towards my left and then rotate towards my right. The whole time I'm rotating, I'm tugging on this strap. Good. The next time you come to your left, pause there, reach, pull on that strap as you come down, and notice where you feel nice areas of tightness, areas of special as you pull down. So I could take this all the way down, but I'm feeling a nice stretch right here in the center part of that right shoulder, which often gives me problems. So I'm just going to work into that and stay right here. You go where you need to go. Good. And then I'm just going to relax a moment, taking it back up, taking it back to center. Whew, that feels so much more loose on that side. Let's try the other side. So big inhale, exhale. Good. We're going to take it over. I'm pulling. I'm reaching. You stop where you need to stop. For me, that's going to be just a little bit lower on this side. I'm breathing and expanding. And then from here, I'm going to come back up and come back to center. Good. Take that strap a little bit behind you without popping the chest forward. Just bringing in a little bit of a balance and a stretch there. And we'll take that back forward. Good. We'll put this to the side. From here, we're going to move into all fours, and we're going to come into a little bit of cat-cow before we come into a modified child's pose. So I'm just going to move my blanket out of the way here. Good. So get set up in your all fours. Good. And then when you're ready, belly button is in. Inhale, shine the heart forward, tip the pelvis back. Exhale, really round. Inhale, look forward, shine the heart forward. Exhale, really round. One more time. Inhale into that cow pose. Exhale into the cat pose. Good. So we're going to come into the child's pose here. This is going to be a 3-minute child's pose. So your knees can be together, as wide as the mat, somewhere in between. Different options today. So we're going to come back and relook at the option with the blocks. But if you don't want that, remember, arms can just come long in front of you. If your shoulders aren't ready, take them back by the ankles. You can take your arms out wide into a V. You can take elbows to your blocks here, which is where I'm going to go, getting a little bit deeper into the armpit. We'll get our timer set up so we're not here for too long. Good. And when you're ready, good, just lengthen a little bit. Good, take it where you need to take it. Now you can also do this without blocks as well, but I want to get a little bit more opening here. Now that being said, I'm not letting myself completely hang all the way in here. Remember that 80-90%. So I'm just going to start here a little bit. Breathing and expanding. And then over time, I'll let my body go where it wants. Always coming back to breath, always coming back to intention. So remember, this is active. So we're still zipping up from the pubic bone to behind the navel. Your belly button is still in. We're into the second minute. And we're about halfway there. So remember, sometimes even in child's pose, if we're there for too long, you might feel uncomfortable sensations. Those sensations are pain, numbness, tingling, burning. So if you feel those here or in anything that we're going to do today, please back off until you do not, even if you need to come out of something completely. We're entering our final minute here. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. So depending on where you went here, you might have some vulnerable areas. So be very mindful and careful when you come out. I'm going to remove my blocks. I'm going to come forward here for a moment. Good. We're going to come down onto the belly. We're going to come into our recovery crocodile pose. So we'll make a little hand pillow here. Legs are as wide as the mat. If you need to wiggle something, that's fine too. We'll be here for about 30 seconds. Good. When you're ready, knowing you can always stay here and recover longer if you need to, we'll take hands under the shoulders and we'll carefully come up. Good. And then, so from here, we're going to go into a little bit of a hip opener here. So we're going to go into dragons, and I'm going to bring my blocks in here for this one. Good. And we're going to kind of do this a little bit dynamically here before we settle in. So we'll go ahead and kind of just get set up here. So I'm going to start by taking my left leg forward first. Okay. And then I'm going to use these blocks. I'm just going to kind of bend. So as we're here, just kind of tuck that toe, take that knee back a little bit. If you can't move this knee back, take this foot a little bit more forward. And with your blocks as your guide, just rock forward and back a few times here. Good, just kind of loosening up a little bit before we go to the deeper posture. And then from here, we'll come back in. Good. Now I'm going to find some length in my torso. And remember, there's all different kinds of stages. So you work according to you. I'm making sure that you know my heel is grounded. This might be where some of you stay, okay, with blocks or hands on the floor. Some of you, you're going to take hands on the inside of that foot and be there. You might take your leg out a little bit wider. You might go open up into that external rotation, hip, knee, and toe, turn out away from the body. You might come to forearms. You might take blocks or forearms to a block or two, which is where I'm going to be on this side today because I'm really tight here. I did some other things before I started to teach this class. Good. And you can also rock a little bit onto that edge of the foot here. So again, we're going to be here for about 3 minutes. If you need to come out before the 3 minutes is up, please do so. Or if you need to come to one of the modifications that we went through to get to this point, you can always come back there. But remember, we're active. So our shoulders are back in their pockets. We're not collapsing through. Our belly button is still in. Good. Good. Now we're starting to get ready to come into the second minute. And I'm noticing now that my body is opening up a little bit here. So I'm not going to need my blocks really anymore unless I just want to keep them. So I'm just going to move them. And remember, this is always okay for you to do as well. As you progress and open up, do you need to keep the prop? Can you release the prop or maybe just do less prop? So be mindful of where you're going. And start to sway back and forth here as we come into the halfway point. Good. We're coming into the final minute. Breathe. Always come back to breath. Come back to your intention. Steady and at ease in the pose. Steady and at ease in the breath. Now 30 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. From here, I went onto the edge of my foot, so I'm going to bring that foot back down. I'm going to come up onto my hands. I'm going to bring this leg back in because I took it out wider. I'm going to use at least one block here to help me. Just come back and shift for a moment. Good. Now find some through the torso as you take your little shift. Good. Now from here, I'm just going to take that foot back. We're going to give that side a break. We're going to come into this side for a moment here. So now I'm going to come to all fours. We're going to come to a pigeon pose on the right side. So I'm just going to drag my right knee up behind that wrist. Good. My right heel is going to be closer to the hip crease, but it does not have to touch it. Good. What we're trying to avoid there is the parallel of the shin and the short edge of your mat. That's an older cue. So if you need to fill in any space here, fill this in. And if this is not for you, come onto your back, cross your right ankle over the left knee and bring into the chest. And you can do a less intense version of this. So we will ease into this one on this side. We're going to go for 4 minutes here. So we're going to do 2 minutes lifted, and then we'll do 2 minutes in the fold. Good. Now you can also bring hands to blocks. We're nice and tight into the core. My front hip is back a little bit. My left hip is forward just a little bit. You're in extension here, so you want to support that spine. As we it gets cold outside and it's kind of starting to feel like Christmas for me, we're starting to decorate our house. So if you like soft music for yin, and you also like to be a little festive, on Pandora, there is an instrumental Christmas classic station that plays a lot of Christmas music by piano that's nice and soft. I highly recommend that for holiday yin practice, or even a more active practice if you want something just a little bit gentle and not something that will get you so stimulated that you move too fast. We're just over 1.5 minutes. Good. And as we come into the second minute, you decide, are you going to stay where you are? Are you going to make any changes? Do you need to, from here, come onto your back? Or are you going to take hands to forearms on blocks, a prop, or the floor? Good. I'm going to take my elbows forward again and take prayer hands here. Always an option, never a requirement. Go where you need to go. You can always come all the way down. Breathe and expand. My belly button is still in here. Good. We're in the final minute now. 10 seconds. Good. And then from here, carefully, carefully, carefully come out of there. Remember that hip's going to be vulnerable. So from here, I'm just going to lift. I'm just going to let that leg drag back here. I'm going to come back forward. I'm going to come on the belly. If you went onto your back, just roll over onto your belly and release. Good. A little bit of a crocodile pose here. Maybe a wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Settle into the relaxation. Notice how you feel. Just like in a more active or moving asana practice, compare one side to the other. And when you're ready, we're going to carefully come back up. Good. So what we're going to do here is a little bit unconventional. So we worked the left side, then we came over to the right side. We're going to go back to the left side with a pigeon, and then we'll end on the right side back with that dragon. Okay. So you'll be able to compare now which feels better, the dragon side doing dragon, then pigeon, or pigeon and then dragon. So, oh, I need to be up. Sorry about that. Good. So we're going to take actually, we're going into pigeon. Never mind that. Got a little ahead of myself. We're just going to drive the left knee up from all fours. Good. And then from here, find where you need to be. So again, if you need to be on your back, you'll cross your your left ankle over the right knee. Fill in any space under that left hip if you need it. We're going to start upright. So think about a slight square off of the hip. So your left hip's going to come back just a little bit. And when you do that, your right hip's going to come forward a little bit. We're going to be up, belly button is in. You're in that extension. 2 minutes up, 2 minutes down. So I have a tendency to get ahead of myself when I get really excited about something. So I apologize for that there. Sometimes it's good to challenge the brain, challenge the body, doing something a little bit out of the norm, the normal way you would do it. It's also good to get a good comparison, what works for your body, what doesn't work for your body. Good. So my shoulders want to creep up on the side, so I'm just reminding myself to relax them down. They don't have to be jammed in their pockets, but think about just relax. Just relax. We're into the second minute. You come back to breath. Come back to your intention. This is active, so belly button is still in here. And as we start to come into the second minute, you decide where you need to go. Are you going to stay here? Do you need to make an adjustment and come onto your back? Are you going to lower down a little bit? Are you going to come to forearms? You're going to come all the way down. This side, I'm going to come all the way down. So be mindful of where you need to be here. Good. Entering the final minute. In about 15 seconds. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Carefully, carefully come up out of there. Good. I'm just going to use my hands to let that leg come back. If you're on your back, you'll come back onto your belly. We're going to take that little relaxation, crocodile here. Let everything settle down. Maybe a little wiggle, wiggle. Good. And then when you feel ready, carefully, hands come under the shoulders, and we're going to come back up. Good. So now we're going to go back to dragons on the right side. So have blocks handy in case you need those. Remember, we're going to come into this with some dynamic movement in the beginning. So I'm going to take my right foot forward. Good. My heel is grounded. I'm going to tuck my back toe, taking that back knee back just a smidge. And I'm just going to kind of move forward and back here. Good. And then when you're ready, we'll come into the dragon. So remember, for some of you, that might be right here, just being on your blocks or hands on the floor. That might mean that hands are on the blocks or the floor in front or on the inside of that foot. It might mean that you take this leg out a little bit wider. Maybe you want to take it out into that external rotation. Hips, knees, and toes turn out away from the body. You can stay up. You can come to forearms. You can take forearms onto a prop. I'm going to come right here. Good. And we'll be here for 3 minutes. So we'll breathe and expand. We're keeping the belly button still engaged here. And so we're getting ready to come into the 2nd minute. And you remember, you can always rock side to side. Always remembering to come into the breath, come into your intention. Good, we're halfway there. I'm going to rock on the edge of the foot here. So this is always an option, never a requirement. So always do and go where it's best for your body, and always back off if you need to do that. Good, getting ready to come into the final minute here. 30 seconds. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. I'm going to take my foot back down onto the floor. I rolled onto the side. I'm going to take my hands back up here. I'm going to walk my foot back in. I'm going to grab one block here to just help me stabilize a little bit as I lengthen back, coming out of there, countering. Good. And notice how you feel. When you're ready, good. I'm going to take this leg back around. I'm going to move my block out of the way. And we are going to come back onto the belly. Get a nice little wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Whenever you're ready, we're going to go into one of our deeper shoulder openers here. We've already done one or a few if you count with the strap. But from here, we're going to go and just kind of do the roll. So my right side is the side that happens to be facing the camera right now. So I'm going to start with that side. So I'm going to take my arms straight out from my shoulder. I'm going to walk those fingertips up to where they're in line with my eyeballs. My other hand is going to come under the shoulder, and I'm going to roll towards that arm that's outstretched. If you roll the other way, you're going to wonder what the point of this is. So some people are going to roll a little, some people are going to roll a lot. Remember, very delicate tissues in here, so we don't want to overdo it. We're not going to stay here too long, just about 1 minute. Good. Carefully, carefully roll out of there, come back onto the belly, and just take some nice little circles here in one direction and in the other. Good. If you need to gently shake something out, we'll do that. Good. So I'm just going to turn around to my other side here so you can see that side better. Good. So I'm going to take my left arm straight out from the left shoulder. I'm going to walk those left fingertips up to where they're right in line with my eyeball. My other hand is going to be under the shoulder. Gently, slowly, carefully, you're going to roll over to the left, that outstretched arm side. You're going to go to your limit. So remember, we don't want any pain here. We don't want numbness, tingling, or burning either. So just enough to feel something right before the special. Good, and carefully roll back onto the belly. Good, carefully take some circles with that arm, that shoulder in one direction. We'll go in that opposite direction. Good. From here, carefully take the hands under the shoulders and we're going to come up. Good. So we're going to put a hip opener and a shoulder opener together. So for this one, I'm going to bring in my blanket to sit on just so that my back and hips will be just a little bit easier to be in that alignment. Good. So we're going to, so in vinyasa, this is called cow face with the legs. Here we call it shoelace. So what we're going to do here, I'm just going to kind of put a bend in the knees. I'm going to start with my left leg being the base leg. So it's going to be on the bottom. So I'm just going to pick up and I'm just going to gently guide it over here. Good. So this heel is closer to this hip and maybe even just a little bit more there. Good. Now, what you do with this leg is going to be all dependent on how you feel. For some of you, this might be the extent of your shoelace legs today. Some of you are going to come a little bit more over. Okay. So if you're coming over into the full, remember you want both sits bones to be grounded. So we don't want to do it at the expense of being hyped up here. So we'll be right here. Good. Now, you'll see in photos, traditionally, the knees are in alignment here. As you can see, I'm not quite there. I'm close, but not quite there. I'm not going to force that to happen. So be where you need to be here. Come out when you need to. My right leg is on top, so I'm going to take my arms out to the side. Right arm's going to be on top of the left. You can hug yourself if that's where you need to be, or you can find that wrap. Find length in the torso here, and we're going to be here for about 1.5 minutes. As we start to approach the halfway point here, you can choose to stay upright. You can choose to come to the hug if the wrap is no longer serving you, or maybe you want to take a fold. So if you're folding in, remember you're not going to go very far. Your legs, your knees are going to be in the way. Good. From here, carefully, if you took the fold, we'll come out of there. Carefully undo the arms. Good. Shake, shake, shake. And we'll carefully undo the legs. So I'm going to bring my legs back here. They're bent. Knees are bent. They're right in line with my hips. I'm going to take my hands behind me and move this bolster out of the way here for a moment. Good. So my belly button is in. My back is flat. I'm not letting myself collapse through here. I'm going to get a gentle windshield wiper. Good. Now, I find it to be a little bit easier if you come onto your heels. If you're okay with it, you can come all the way over to one side and then the other. Good. And then when you're ready, we're going to take that all to the other side. So I'm going to come back up. So now your right leg is now going to be your base leg. So I'm going to bring that in. Good. So I'm going to bring that heel, that foot in closer to the left hip. Okay. I got out of alignment here a little bit. Good. So now you choose, is this where you need to stay or are you going to cross over? Good. So remember, both hips are grounded here. As you can see, I'm even in less alignment on this side than the other side, which is fine. We all have to start somewhere. We work where we can work and don't worry about it. So again, don't force your knees to come into that stacked alignment if your body's not ready to go there. So arms are going to come out to the side. This time, left arm's going to come on top. Good. You can find a nice hug and a squeeze, or you can find your wrap. Nice and tall from crown to tail. And we'll be here for about a minute and a half. I'll give you the halfway option. Good. You can stay here if you want to try that fold. You can come into the fold. Good. And when you're ready, we'll carefully come out of there. Coming back up, we'll release. We'll shake, shake, shake. We'll carefully undo the legs. Good. We're going to come back again, taking hands behind you, find support, and gently windshield wiper. Good. So remember, you can keep it more gentle. You can take it all the way over. Just be nice and supported. Good. And then when you're ready, we're going to come up, and speaking of support, we're going to do a supported back bend. So, or a supported fish pose if you want to look at it from that perspective. So I'm going to actually do this with my bolster cushion. You could do this with stacked folded blankets. If you've got just blocks, I'll show you that supported fish pose. It's the same thing we do in a vinyasa class. So you'll have one hand holding your block right around the bra line or right before it. You don't want to be down here in the lumbar. And then the other hand will guide you. Good. And then you can have bent knees. You can be crisscross applesauce. You can be long. I would support your head with something here. So whether that's a block, a folded blanket, a pillow, something like that, I would come here and just let the chest and the shoulders open. Good. But from here, I'm going to take a bolster and do that. So from my bolster, it's a little bit different. I'm going to bring this bolster in right up against myself. And then I'm just going to lie back here. Good. And then find that relaxation. So again, if you need to bring in support for the head, I'm going to bring in a blanket here just so I don't have to come back as deep. I'm letting my shoulders and my chest just open up. Legs can be long. You can be crisscross applesauce. You can put a bend in the knees. Be where you need to be. It's all good. Breathe and expand. So just FYI, if you think this feels good with blocks, I highly recommend investing in a bolster and giving that a whirl. It feels amazing. And you start to notice holding patterns here too, where your body kind of wants to let go, but then you've also got that part of your body feel like, no, 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 I don't want to let go. So that can be intense sometimes, but also freeing. Just let your body let it go if you can. And we'll take a few more moments here. Good. And then when you're ready to come out of here, good, wherever you went, whatever props, nod your chin, take your hands to the floor, try to let that help you come up here. We just don't want the head to hang back willy-nilly in space. I'm gonna move my bolster out of the way, but I'm gonna keep it handy because I'm gonna bring it in for Shavasana here in a moment. I'm just gonna clear my space of some of these other props as well. And if you've got a folded blanket for a neck pillow, you can keep that right there. We're gonna come back to our strap. And we're going to use our strap to do an assisted twist here, a little assisted stretch and twist. So I'm going to start with my right knee bent. We'll take the strap around the left foot. Good. Good. So from here, find a grip that's appropriate for you. Keep a micro bend in this knee. Find a little bit of length here, and then you can bring this back. I'm breathing. Good. I'm going to release. My right leg's going to come long, both straps into the right hand with a long leg or a bent front knee. And remember, you might have to kind of move that leg forward and back a little bit to find your sweet spot, but you can choose that arc over or coming over into the twist, keeping the leg in line with the hip here. Try not to let it flop on the floor so we can protect the SI joints here of the low back. That's where the sacrum and the pelvis meet each other, or the ilium to be exact. Sacroiliac joint is what that stands for. Good, and when you're ready, we'll come all the way back up. Good. We're just gonna do a midair switcheroo here. Good. So the left knee can be bent. Find a grip that supports you, keeping a micro bend in the knee. Find a little bit of length here through the low body, belly button in, and we'll bring this leg in. And notice how this feels on one side compared to the other. Shouldn't feel as intense as maybe it would have been if we had started with this one. Good. We'll release. Good. The other leg's going to come long. Good. Both hands into that strap. A bent knee or a long leg. You choose just an arc over, or you can take that leg into full twist, keeping leg in line with the hip. Breathe and expand. So be mindful of your joints back here. They don't have a lot of movement. It's very subtle movement, just enough to cause a problem if we're not careful. Good. And then from here, whenever you're ready, we'll bring that back in and we'll release from the strap. Good. I'm just going to put that strap to the side. I'm going to bring in my bolster here so you can set yourself up for your Shavasana however you would like, with or without props. Remember, you can be on your back, on your side, on your belly. Be where you're comfortable. Good. And then see if you can make yourself about 10% more comfortable when you get to where you're going. And I'll leave you here for a few moments to practice the hardest yoga pose of all, being still. And taking some deep breaths here. Choose stillness or gently take head and neck from side to side. Choose stillness or invite movement of the fingers and the toes. Choose stillness or maybe take the knees into the chest, choosing to keep the upper body grounded, or maybe you want to tuck the chin, lift the upper body, and come into a full body hug. And choosing stillness or moving any props out of the way that you may have used for your Shavasana time. Taking legs long in front of you, arms long behind you, and reach and lengthen from the edge of the fingertips, the edge of the toes. Full body stretch, point and flex through those feet, bend and stretch through those hands, twirling wrists and ankles in one direction, and then in the other. And then from here, whenever you're ready, carefully bend in both knees, and you choose rolling over onto your right or left side, the side that works best for your body in this moment. Taking a moment to pause if you need it. And when you're ready, pressing yourself up back to that comfortable seat, maybe the same one you started with, maybe a different one. Good. And then from here, finding that nice tall spine again, the ears, the shoulders, and the hips, fingertips to the side. Noticing how you feel now versus when we started. Palms up towards the ceiling. Inhale, reach, 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 and lengthen, touching palms together. Exhale, hands in the heart center. Reconnecting with that intention you made for yourself one more time. We'll take our thumbs to our forehead for good and true thoughts. To our lips for good and kind words. And to our hearts for open and loving hearts, knowing no effort on this mat is ever wasted, no gain is ever reversed. May you be safe, may you stay well, may you have a wonderful day, evening, week ahead. Namaste.